Hello, Philip.
Hello, Joshua.
You ready for the top 5 hockey card sales from last week?
Phil's ready. Let's rock and roll.
Okay, we're going to get right into it. Some interesting things to talk about. So, right off the bat, we have a 1979 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky rookie PSA 8 sold for $15K, 15 grand US, this past week via eBay and was verified, of course, as paid for in Terapeak. This is not the first time this card at PSA 8, of course, has appeared on our countdown film. So, yeah, it kind of sells all the time, right? Because it's a pop 833, and you'll find, within that, though, tons and tons of range of condition.
Yes.
When there's more than 800 of them. Over the past 12 months, 44 Gretzky O-Pee-Chee PSA 8s have sold publicly. Quite a range in sales, too. This is kind of interesting. So on the low end, somebody bought a Gretzky PSA 8 for $10,350 US in the past year. And on the high end, $25,620.
Whoa, 15,000 difference.
Yeah. So I guess buy the card, not the grade, right?
Yeah, no kidding. I pay attention least. It's terrible grammar. I don't pay much attention if I have a feeling the card has been sheet cut. If it's an O-Pee-Chee card, I want the rough cut, especially on the left side. If it's a Topps card, I want it to look like this.
Got you. So you think the edges are too clean?
Little suspect. Not suspect in a negative way. It's, PSA allows sheet cut cards to be graded.
They don't.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, then I guess they have ample evidence to show that this was not sheet cut. So I would prefer a card with some visible sheet, rough cut trimmings on it.
Sure.
I guess that's a bad word to use.
Well, I mean, it's a good. So BGS will allow sheet cut cards.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes, but that does not mean, though, Phil, that some get past PSA because, as we know, these are not wire cut. They were cut by blades, but O-Pee-Chee got a little cheap and didn't sharpen the blades. And so when the blades were fresh, the edges were pretty clean, and then they got a little, what we call the rough cut, a little fuzzy.
Yeah, a little fuzzy
as they dulled. So who knows? I don't know how you would tell the difference between a clean blade cut and a dull blade, but
super magnification, see if little fibers are trying to escape from the card. I'm not sure, but hey, I think most civilians would prefer a card like this and not a rough cut. You know how many times people make fun of rough cut cards? They're like, why would you ever want this? It's like, well, it's part of history and it shows the production value of a certain company. Because you can have
totally a team rough cut.
Yeah, and because you can have a Topps that is crisp on the flip side, and so you can have two different Wayne Gretzky autos. I think it's a great example of the 1979-80 set from O-Pee-Chee and Topps. If you have both.
Good point. The fourth highest selling hockey card this week is this 23-24 Upper Deck Premier Connor Bedard Blue Spectrum RPA 101. Sold for $16,505 US via the Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction. I think it's a pretty good value. If you look at the Ultimate Shield that went for what, 55,000 or so US, I'm taking this all day long at a third of that price.
Bedard Mania, this is the winner, right? For Bedard Mania, if you took all the big cards, like all 7 or 8 of the biggest cards of all the sets, I think whoever bought this had the smartest play here.
Well, think about it too. You could buy this card for $16,505 and probably make all your money back by charging $5 to press the button.
Not bad, eh? You know what?
Out of the expo and say $5, press the button. I would do that.
Out of some guy that just finished some pizza, it's like, here, I'll take a stab at it. Smudges the whole card.
Boogers on his nose.
I don't know what's happened to me, but the ultimate 1-of-1 card that sold for 70, 80 there, that to me, that card is incredible. I don't know if it's the red around the shield but to me, the buyer of that card, and I thought that card was going to go over 100K. I want this card and that card. then I'd be happy with.
Well, you bought the Jake Sanderson, so now you're a Shield guy.
Yeah,
now
I'm halfway there. I'm
you
Shield guy now.
found appreciation for Shields.
What a big week for me, eh? I'm a Shield 101 guy now, and I'm a buyback guy. What?
Scary, Phil. You're changing in so many ways. You're growing. It's like you're maturing. You're a little boy is
Or
becoming a hobby man.
unmaturing. Or unmaturing.
Fair. Guess how many Bedard cards now have sold for more than $15,000 US public?
He's such a bust. He hasn't done anything. We don't know. Let's have fun watching and see. He might be. Probably not.
How many do you think have sold for more than 15K?
Six card. No, obviously no. More than 15K? Eight cards.
19 sales to date. More than 15,000. Okay, now guess how many Austin Matthews cards have ever sold publicly for more than 15,000?
2.
5.
I want to recount.
Guess how many Cale Makar cards have ever sold for more than 15,000?
8.
2.
Ah, come on. What?
Isn't it wild how big of an impact Connor Bedard has had in the hobby?
That is, Josh, that's some wild information. Even a Cale Makar high gloss did not sell for more than 15,000.
He has 19 sales of 15,000 or more, and
Bedard
more than Austin Matthews, more than Makar. I mean, you could probably look at anyone not McDavid that's currently or Crosby or Ovechkin, and he's by far the biggest hobby star.
This is we have never needed a psychologist on more than ever. Nothing beats the human condition. Nothing. If we were all Vulcan running around, these would all be reasonable prices, but we're not. We're irrational monkeys running around. Like, this makes no sense. No sense. You could get a Bobby Orr rookie card. Really, really nice one for any of these cards we've talked about. Nobody cares. Me included. Maybe I'd be like, I don't know, that Ultimate Bedard's pretty amazing. You know,
you have to the button on a Bobby Orr.
You have to be honest with yourself. Yeah, I got a Bobby Orr rookie card. Oh, cool, bro. Yeah, my uncle's got one of those. Yeah, it's not the same. This one's graded higher. Yeah, it looks the same. They don't know. You bust this out at a party. Well, maybe not all parties, but certain parties, and you're pretty cool, you know, with our friends, anyways. Okay,
let's go on to number 3. Phil, we have another 1979 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky PSA 8. This one, though, sold for $25,620 by a Heritage. So here's what we want to do. In the same auction now, we have 2 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky PSA 8s. One sells for $15,000. One sells for $25,620. That's a difference of $10,620 US dollars. Can you see $10,000 between the card on the left and the card on the right?
I'd want to see them in hand. I would love to point out the differences. They're very similar. Registration's probably better on the one that got more money. You can tell by the oil drop.
The oil drop is way more centered, yeah.
I wish the picture was a little nicer on the $15,000 one. We could compare more accurately.
Yeah,
it seems like they put a little more care into the presentation.
I mean, maybe if the card was worth $25,000, they would have taken the time to take a decent picture of it. But there's no need at $15,000.
It looks like there's a bit of wear on the edge on the $25,000, but I mean, these are all pretty pixelated on my screen. It's hard to tell. Quite similar to the naked eye, though.
I mean, I think more and more that I appreciate this about vintage is that, like, when it comes to a 2024 Young Guns, a PSA 10's a PSA 10, nobody even barely looks at the card. Let's be honest, they look at the grade.
Yeah.
When it comes to vintage, though, this is the same grade, and there is a $10,000 difference in the same week between the cards, and so you really, really have to. The grade is becoming just like an idea of the price range now, and you have to thoroughly kind of evaluate or find someone that can do it for you. You know, how good of an 8 is this card versus maybe some of the others.
Yeah, the cheaper one looks cleaner on my screen, a little more dull in color and not desaturated, but you know, like unless you see them hand in hand. I'm sure if we saw both, because Heritage does deep scans. I don't think who bought that for $25,000 off a Heritage wasn't looking at that card pretty good. I mean, sure, there's outliers out there, but I would bet, even though it looks more poor on my screen, that 8 probably has some more positive qualities than the cheaper one. I would hope, anyways. I would hope.
Or it could just be, Heritage gets a lot of big whales, and maybe two guys had a glass of scotch one night and felt
PP
a little
contest.
frisky and
I can be farther. Watch.
We got 2 more left. So the second highest selling hockey card this week is a beautiful card, in my opinion. It's a 1985-86 O-Pee-Chee Mario Lemieux rookie PSA 10, sold for $36,000 by Heritage on July 11th. I do love this card. I do not have one, of course, but would love to have it. Now, at a PSA 10, the pop is just 48. And when you put that into context of Connor Bedard's 7,000 Young Gun PSA 10s, and then you even factor in tops. So there's for Lemieux, between O-Pee-Chee and tops, there's 127 PSA 10s. It's, again, kind of wild to think about how few rookie cards there are for some legendary players, going back to the early 90s and before.
Agreed. Someone just wanted this card. They needed the 10. Maybe it was for the registry. Maybe it was for their PC. Mm-hmm. Not much deviation in my thoughts for why someone paid big bucks for this card. One of the greatest players of all time. I think he's probably a lot better than most of us even know, because he had so many health issues,
injuries, and illness.
Everybody that saw him play live just said he's just he almost, some people say he was better than Gretzky. He just had unfortunate circumstances. I'm no one to argue. Points say different, but
Kobe's got an opinion too, obviously.
Yeah, clearly the way he could take over a game and carry it, and his poise and vision. He was a very special player. I wish I had more connection to him, but nothing but respect for him. So good value and good purchase.
Well, so this is the third sale of a PSA 10 in the last 12 months, Phil. On the low end, sold for $27,600. On the high end, $45,000. So at $36K, that's pretty much right in the middle. Now, do you want to? Oh, go ahead.
He brings it in, man. Well, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's Mario. Do you want to guess the all-time highest sale for a 85 O-Pee-Chee PSA 10?
It'd probably be during COVID. I'd say 68,000.
If you would have guessed 80,100, you would have been right.
It's all crazy. It's all Greek to me. I'm Greek. That's why that's funny. I know.
Are you ready for number 1?
Let's go.
Are you expecting at this point another O-Pee-Chee Gretzky PSA 8?
No, tops Gretzky.
Close. It is a 1979 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky PSA 9.
Now we're talking.
For $92,000 US via Fanatics Buy Now Marketplace. Now that's key, because there's some interesting talkers about this card. At $92,000, Phil, it's the lowest sale of a 1979 Gretzky O-Pee-Chee PSA 9 in over 4 years.
I would have bought this. This is exactly what I want. This is exactly the card I want. This beautiful.
Here's what, now if you're thinking, what's happening to the hobby? Lowest sale in 4 years. Remember, this was a buy now. So it's either listed at $92,000 or an offer of $92,000 was accepted, which is a little curious to me, given that the last 2 sales in this year, 2025, in February, one sold for $138,000. Then last month, another one sold for almost $125,000.
Wow.
So if you're one of the other 94 people, because this is a Pop 95 card, that owns a copy, and somebody just accepted an offer for $92,000, are you pulling? Well, you don't have hair. Are you pulling your hair out and saying, "What are you doing?"
I got a blank. This. No, I wouldn't be upset. I just think this is a great. Well, I shouldn't say that. When I sold my Brady Tkachuk clear cut PSA 10, I got a phone call like, "What are you doing? I have the other one. Why would you?" Sorry, G. I guess you add a few decimal points, and whoever bought those other Gretzkys probably lost it. Yeah, that's pretty. Those are pretty recent sales too. They're probably losing it. And I totally understand why someone wouldn't like the aesthetics of this card. If the corners were all smudged a certain way, this would be a PSA 2 or 3, right? That's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, if this is a 2025 card, it would be a PSA nothing.
Yeah. If this card was sent in now for grading, they'd probably get a 6.5, 7, and I would be all over that card. I'm looking for that card. I've been close. I was very close, and what a card! I love this. This to me is a Canadian Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Love it.
Now
You
the
like
two
it?
PSA 8 copies we looked at 15,000 and 26,000 or 25,000. Is there a $70,000 difference
Yes.
between those cards?
Yes.
You really? Okay, wow.
For me, yes. If I had the money, no problem. Done.
Mhm.
I've done, and that's the irrationality, the irrational part of our hobby, right? I'm allowed to be subjectively irrational.
If I was like super into the Gretzky rookie, I would go and, because there's not a ton of them, compare the 4 or the 2 O-Pee-Chee PSA 10s to all the 9s, and I'm kind of curious if that, a lot of people throw out the theory that some of the 9s are actually better than the 10s.
Of course they are. It's not a theory. It's a fact. I'm sorry. I know you can't have a subjective thing as a objective, but we're going to do it for this segment. Yes. Do we have deep scans of the 2 10s? I'd love to do that.
Yeah. There's good pictures on Card Ladder. You have a Card Ladder.
Scan. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that'd be good for a little bit.
Maybe you can nerd out in that.
Nerd out.
Nerd
I'm
out.
pretty good at
All
that.
right. Well, Phil, that's our top 5
All right,
sales
buddy.
this week.
That's good. Summer.
think?
Happy summer to everybody. People are still
Yeah.
buying big cards. Enjoy.
Yeah. Get outside. See you later. See you next
Catch
week.
some grass.
Bye bye.